Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Good morning, afternoon, whenever it is you're watching this. For me, it's morning. I hope you're well, feeling well, secure. If not, stick around. We'll increase your confidence, make you feel better. Right? That's what this practice is useful for. To deal with samsara and put it in its place. And since we're on the subject, what is Tathagata-ness? Tathagata, the potential for clear moment-to-moment perception, the experience of the engine of life. The entire cosmos is an expression of that potential. Of course, most of our consciousnesses, seem to be solely focused on the tools of that experience. Because if you think about what you experience as life, are we not drawn to the senses? I mean, without senses, what would we experience? The sense of sight, vision, the sense of sound, of taste, of touch, of feeling, as in sensation, both physical and emotional. And what is emotion? Except a colored, influenced, multifaceted combination of all these senses, both internal and external, in the experience of something. Of course, the moment we label something, the moment we say that or this, we're stopping time. Of course, we can't do that, but our samsaric mind thinks that it can. And because our samsaric mind of identification and ownership thinks it can stop time, it develops these conditions, these illnesses, the illness of clinging, of having, maintaining, and dragging along some idea of something at some point that we've long left behind in time, space. That's hard to grapple with, but it's not as hard to grapple with as the idea that becomes obvious if you think about it for a good length of time, that if our perception of experience is one constructed of trying to maintain these past events, past thingifications, and drag them along with us through time, that illusion that something remains the same, I'll do kudos to Led Zeppelin. The idea that we could, that we innately can do, and even without trying, sometimes experience time as it occurs, moment to moment to moment to moment to moment, and see what's occurring, expressing itself moment to moment to moment to moment. That's truly difficult. And yet, if you've ever been in an accident, or a friend who's been in an accident, and you hear the words, "It felt like slow motion." Think about that. It felt like slow motion. Or in more simple terms, déjà vu. Déjà vu, it felt like slow motion. Those are all contentions the mind has about time. When you have an accident and you feel like slow motion, is because your mind is capable of reviewing every single moment to moment to moment to moment, that occurred in a certain space of time. That's not how we normally think, though. We think in labels, in file folders of time. Remember lunch the other day? That's a huge packet of multitudinous events all occurring at various moments in the past. They don't exist anymore, but they are relived or re-sparked in our current mind, albeit colored and changed and sorted out while we sleep into a perception that we know exactly what happened at lunch the other day. And yet, it's not the same. You're not hanging on to, clinging to the past. That's an illusion. You're recalling certain events of the past, and you're doing so in whole chunks. But when something traumatic happens, you uncover a part of your mind that is so much more profoundly aware and can replay for you so much more accurate moment-to-moment occurrences that it stumps you a bit. And so you only see that in chunks, but chunks of very moment-to-moment occurrence. It seems longer because we're not accustomed to reviewing our past that way. All of this is to say, you know your mind's capable of a lot more than your day-to-day activities. Your mind is capable and is in fact doing, shall I use the word oodles? Google more times of perception than your consciousness is aware of. Your samsaric mind doesn't want to deal with all that information. It's too much. Too busy corralling all of the past events and lining them up so that I can crave something about the past into my future. It's really kind of pathetic when you think about it, but it's those very tools that allow us, provide for us an apparatus to open our ultimate consciousness, our ninth consciousness, our consciousness of Buddha-ness, our instantiation of Tathagata, where we can perceive that moment to moment to moment to moment reality as it occurs and experience where life really is. Tathagata It's the potential to do exactly that. And when we manifest it in this carcass of desire, we shut down the samsaric cataloging and ownership and simply participate, witness life as it occurs all around us, within us, everywhere, moment to moment to moment. So let's continue this chapter and see what else Shakyamuni has to say about Tathagata. Also, O good man, as he continues to talk to our friend Kashyapa, as an example, there is a medicine in the Himalayas called pleasing taste. It tastes very sweet. It grows hidden under a deep growth of plants, and we cannot easily see it. But from its scent, one can come to know the whereabouts of this medicine. In days gone by, there was a Chakravartin, a benevolent ruler, yes, who, placing wooden tubes here and there in the Himalayas, collected this medicine. When it had ripened, it flowed out and entered the tubes. It tasted truly right. Wonder what that tastes like. Rightness. Right. Correct. When the king died, this medicine became sour, salty, sweet, bitter, or hot, or light. Thus, what is one tastes differently according to the different places. The true taste of the medicine remains in the mountains. It is like the full moon. Any common mortal, sterile in virtue, may work hard, dig, and try, but cannot get to it. Only a Chakravartin, high in virtue, appearing in the world, can arrive at the true value of this medicine because of happy circumstantial concatenations. I don't know what's concatenated there. That must be concentration. I'll have to look into that. Concatenation is an odd word to have right there. That's got to be a typo. Melly Mel. You're going to stick? You're going to stick? Okay. The same is the case here. O good man, the taste of the hidden store of the Tathagata is also like this. Overspread by all the growths of defilement, the beings clad in ignorance cannot hope to see it. We speak of the one taste. This applies, for instance, to the Buddha nature. On account of the presence of defilement, several tastes appear, such as the realms of hell, hunger, animality, devas, humans, beings, men, women, non-women, kshatriya, brahmin, vaishya, and sudra. Remember the 3,000 realms in a single thought moment? So as one seeks Tathagata, as we chant and invoke our Buddha-ness, we will be rubbing up against all our other influences. Fascinating, yes? But should we let any of those influences take over our path? Of course not. We are developing our Buddha-ness to be adamantine, impenetrable, yes? And it's, in truth, not the Buddha-ness that we have to affirm as impenetrable. That's a quality of the Buddha-ness. What the impenetrable aspect of Buddha-ness is the adamantine mind focused on instantiating it. Because of all the pressure of these other 8 senses, minds, dancing with the 3,000 realms, trying constantly to obfuscate us. Think of it as being underwater, knowing that water is made of hydrogen and oxygen, and that you are capable of breathing oxygen underwater. But the pressure of the molecules maintaining a liquid state that you're in is so strong that it fights your ability to withdraw the oxygen, life-giving oxygen out of the water so that you can breathe. It's kind of a radical, rather difficult problem I've set out as an analogy, but truly, sometimes it's very easy to invoke our Buddha. And as we chant, we do invoke it. But how much obfuscation is there for us to express, perceive, and actually be in it, Buddhahood, clarity, moment to moment to moment to moment to moment? Which one of those moments will let some partial floodgate of the 3,000 realms, all that pressure, pop in hungry ghosts? Yeah, pop in jealousy, pop in, right? That samsaric vast collection. Remember, I used to call it the warehouse of our delusions. That's why Nichiren constantly reminds us to be of one mind, of strong mind, of focused conviction. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Buddha. Yes, now. The Buddha nature is strong and vigorous. It is hard to destroy. Therefore, there is nothing that can kill it. If there were something that could indeed kill it, Buddha, or Buddha nature, would die. But nothing can ever destroy such Buddha nature. Nothing of this nature can ever be cut, because Tathagata is innate, even to that. The nature of self is nothing other than the hidden storehouse of the Tathagata field. In other words, the very expression of the energies that manifest the atoms, particles, molecules that make up you, each and every one of them has Tathagata potential innate within its manifestation. Tathagata is a field within energy, of energy, within energy, inseparable. The nature of self is nothing other than the hidden storehouse of the Tathagata field. Such a storehouse can never be smashed, set on fire, or done away with. Although it is not possible to destroy or see it, one can know of it when one attains unsurpassed enlightenment. Hence, there is indeed nothing that can kill it. Bodhisattva Kashyapa said to Shakyamuni Buddha, "If nothing can kill it, no karmic consequences would ensue from malevolent actions. No, that's a leap. Shakyamuni Buddha said to Kashyapa, there truly is such a thing as killing. How? O good man, the Buddha nature of beings rests within the 5 skandhas and the remaining 4 consciousnesses. If the 5 skandhas are destroyed, this is killing of those skandhas and not all consciousnesses. And as the 9th consciousness is the area where the Buddha can take hold, if one harms a living thing, one gains the unfortunate realms. Brahman, Vaishya, Sudra, Kandala, or man, woman, non-woman, and the 25 variegated existences. A person who has not reached the exalted stage of a sage is waywardly bound up by attachment to self, that whole craving and clinging of possessions and labeling, right? All such phases or modes of existence, whether big or small, or like barnyard grass, like rice or bean, or like the thumb. They do, ignorant beings, loosely imagine things. There can be no true shape in wild fancies. The shape of self that seeks to flee from the world is Buddha nature. This is the best way of conceiving of the self. It's a little rough, but we'll work on it, yeah? And next, O good man, as an analogy, there is a man here who knows well what is hidden under the ground. He takes up a sharp hoe, digs into the ground, and hits upon such things as stones and gravel. All goes through, and nothing hinders. Only when the diamond comes in its way can the hoe not dig through it. Now, no sword or hatchet can destroy a diamond. O good man, then Buddha nature of beings is like this. It is something that all those people who discuss things, marapapiyas, all men and devas cannot destroy. What characterizes the 5 skandhas and the 6th and 7th consciousnesses of the mind, as well as the storehouse of karmic instantiations and repercussions of the 8th, is the phenomenon of what occurs and what is done. Whatever occurs and is done can certainly be destroyed. Right? That's the memories of the past we cling to so much. Like stones and sand. The true self of the Buddha nature is like the diamond. In the 9th consciousness, which cannot be crushed, since it is a portal to the uncreated, the universal Tathagata field, the engine of life, yes? Hence, we call the destroying of the 5 skandhas and the 6th, 7th, and 8th the killing of life. Or rather, it's an attachment to life. Maybe I should clear that up. Know well, most definitely, that the Buddhist teaching is not within the boundaries of conceiving. In other words, labeling and identifying. Yeah, I've talked about this a bunch, so I'm not going to repeat myself too much. O good man, the Vaipulya Sutras, the breath of the Mahayana, are like amrita, ambrosia, nectar, and poison. Bodhisattva Kashyapa says to Shakyamuni Buddha, why, O Buddha, do you say that the Vaipulya Sutras are both amrita and poison? Shakyamuni Buddha says, "Oh, good man, do you desire to be informed about the hidden storehouse of the Tathagata field?" Kashyapa says, "I now really do desire to learn the signification of the hidden storehouse of the Tathagata field." So then Shakyamuni Buddha says in a gatha, "There is a person who takes amrita, harms life, and dies early. Or another who takes amrita and gains a long life. Or one who takes poison and gains life. Or another who takes poison and dies. The unhindered or unobstructed wisdom, which is amrita, is none other than the Mahayana Sutras. And such Mahayana Sutras are what also contain poison. It is like butter, ghee, or rock candy, which when taken and digested, act as medicine. If not digested, then they are nothing but poison. It is the same with the Vaipulya Sutras. The wise make of them amrita, and the ignorant, not knowing the value of the Buddha nature, make of them poison. Sarvakas and Pratyeka Buddhas make of the Mahayana amrita. This is like milk, which is foremost in taste. Those who work thus and make progress ride in the Mahayana, gain the shore of nirvana, and become elephant kings of men. Such beings know the Buddha nature, as with Kashyapa. This superb amrita is birthlessness and deathlessness. O Kashyapa, you would now analyze the three refuges. Just as is the intrinsic being, Svabhava, of the three refuges, so indeed is my intrinsic being. If a person is able to truly discern that her intrinsic being possesses the Buddha Dhatu, then you should know that such a person will enter into the secret matrix, the Tathagata Garbha, the Tathagata field, the Buddhahood, yes? That person who knows the self, the Atman, and what belongs to the self, the Atmiya, has already transcended the mundane world. The nature of the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, is supreme and most worthy of respect. As in the verse which I have uttered, the meaning of its nature is thus. Then Kashyapa said in a gatha, I do not know how to take refuge in the three treasures, how to take refuge in unsurpassed fearlessness. Knowing not the place of the three treasures, how can one gain fearlessness? How can one who takes refuge in the Buddha gain quietude? How can one take refuge in Dharma? Condescend to tell me of this. How does one gain unmolestedness, and how non-unmolestedness? How does one take refuge in the Sangha and thereby attain unsurpassed benefit? How does one gain true lectures? How Buddhahood in the days to come? If one does not attain it in the days to come, how can one take refuge in the three treasures? I have nothing to foresee. I shall work my way up step by step. Without conceiving, can a person think of having a child? If it is definitely in embryo, we can indeed say that we have a child. If the child is in the womb, it will not be long before it emerges. Excuse me. This is the meaning vis-a-vis a child. The same pertains to the karma of man. The ignorant cannot know what Shakyamuni Buddha says. By ignorance, the wheel of the cycle of birth and death turns. One who is an upasaka in name only cannot know the true meaning. Condescend to explain matters to me and cut away the web of doubt on the great wisdom of Shakyamuni Buddha. Have the compassion for and explain, I pray. Plead. Open the closed door of the treasure house of the Tathagata field. O Kashyapa, I will now, for your sake, open the closed door of the storehouse and upset your doubt. I will uproot your doubt. Give ear to what I say with all your heart. Listen up. You, all you bodhisattvas, and the seventh Buddha, Buddha Kashyapa, have the same name. One who takes refuge in the Buddha is a true upasaka. He no longer takes refuge in all the other karmic potentials. See, that's what we're doing in samsara. We're taking refuge. We're feeling comfy, cozy in the 3,000 realms. Because we possess those. We own those, you see. You see how devilish the delusions are, yes? One who takes refuge in Dharma cuts himself away from harming others. One who takes refuge in the exalted Sangha does not take refuge in non-Buddhist heretics. You have to choose. Thus, taking refuge in the three treasures, one attains fearlessness. But it does require that you make the commitment. That's taking refuge, yes? Kashyapa says to Shakyamuni Buddha, I take refuge in the three treasures. This is the right path, and this is the world of all Buddhas. The fact that the two treasures are equal possesses always the nature of the great wisdom. The fact that the two treasures are equal possesses always the nature of the great wisdom. The two treasures? The nature of self and the Buddha nature do not differ. And we've been talking about that self particularly, but that's not the same self as what you see in the mirror, is it? That's the self of the Buddha nature, the moment-to-moment perception of the engine of life. That's the, quote, self. This is the path Shakyamuni Buddha praises. This is where a man rightly steps forward and when one abides in quietude. Because there are no distractions there. There is only the moment-to-moment expression and experience of life. What we call life, yes? This is true enlightenment. This is Buddhahood. I, too, am a Sugata, a well-gone, a Buddha, and am on the way to unsurpassed enlightenment praised by all. This is the best Amrita. This is where there is no samsaric existence to name. Then Shakyamuni said to Kashyapa, O good man, do not view the three treasures as all Shravakas and common mortals do. In this Mahayana, there is no distinction between the three treasures. Why not? The Buddha nature contains within it the Dharma and the Sangha. To teach Sravakas and common mortals, discriminating is resorted to, and the three different aspects are spoken of regarding the three treasures. following the way of the world, distinction is talked about regarding the three treasures. I'm going to pause there. You've heard me talk about this a lot in the context of the three bodies, quote unquote, of the Buddha. And I've been very adamant in my portrayal of that word body as speaking of body as environment, as the petri dish of life, the sphere of experience. That body isn't these fingers, arms, legs, so on. That body is the body of beingness, as those three labels of treasures, or in the expression of the three bodies of Buddha. The chanting is a physical doing, an energetic momentum, yes, of invocation. That energetic momentum of invocation is such because there's a vessel committing it, this invocation. And the result of the invocation is the manifestation of the experience of Buddhahood. Those are the three bodies, but they all are occurring with the one act. Because it takes consciousness to do it. It takes effort to do it. And as we do it, invoke Buddhahood, we become it, Buddha. They all happen simultaneously. But we speak about them separately in order to dissect this truth to those who do not know. Right? The Shravaka, the student monk, or common mortals, in other words, those not indoctrinated into the studies of Buddha-ness or Buddhahood or Buddha, Buddhism. And here he says it very expressly. Don't talk about the three treasures like they're three identified things. That's samsara. Talk about them as aspects of the one attainment of Buddha, of enlightenment. Yeah? All right. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your practice. Savor it. Stay healthy for it. I deeply appreciate your participation in these. Thank you for listening. Right? Please take a moment to like and subscribe. It helps our algorithm, or YouTube's algorithm, bring this to more people, like-minded people. We can grow the Sangha, yes, which you should understand by now is the growth of the Dharma and the Buddha within all of us. Because they're all the same thing. And those of you who are contributing regularly via Patreon or PayPal, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. We all owe you debts of gratitude. All right. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.